What's up guys, it's TalkTalkDragz and today I want to talk about consoles because I feel like console wars as we know them may be very well over, or at least coming to an end. So if you haven't seen, in the US, PlayStation had 47% of the tech sales in Black Friday week, or console sales or whatever. Probably not tech sales, it's probably just counting console sales. So PlayStation had 47% of the console sales, which is just remarkable to be honest, but not very surprising if we're honest. Switch 2 had 24%. NEX Playground had 14%, who I'd never even heard of before this. But they finished above Xbox, which is just crazy, to be honest. And that really shows how Xbox they're probably dead, to be honest. You know, I'll get to them in a minute. But first, I just want to talk about PlayStation. You know, they're just dominating, aren't they? You know, they've dominated this generation. They're probably going to dominate the next generation. I don't see how they're not going to dominate the next generation. It seems like the easiest generation to win, really. Maybe Steam Machine could pull off a surprise. I hope they do, but I just don't see it. But yeah, PlayStation, just pretty self-explanatory. There's not really much to say about them, you know. They're just dominating. Xbox, yeah, they're on their way down, you know. This generation, it's just not been very good for them, you know. They've been dominated by PlayStation. They've been put on their backside, really. And next generation, it's not even going to be a console anymore. It's going to be a PC. So that probably will be the last Xbox we'll get, to be honest. Unless they do eventually decide to bring it back in the future, which I hope they do. Because I don't want to see Xbox gone, really. You know, I don't want them to do... Maybe they'll do what Sega did, you know. Remember when Nintendo versus Sega was the main console war and Sega just died out? Maybe this will be it, PlayStation versus Xbox, and then Xbox are going to die out, you know. This stuff just happens, you know. We might not see another Xbox after their next generation PC or whatever it's going to be. And then I also want to talk about Nintendo, because look, obviously Nintendo, they're obviously so different to PlayStation and Xbox, but I feel like maybe I mean, obviously they're already getting plenty of sales, but I think this might be a chance for them to actually attract to more people, actually, because a lot of people don't get Nintendo consoles. They get PlayStations and Xboxes, because Nintendo, that only really sells, you know, stuff like, you only really get that if you want to get the Nintendo exclusives like Mario Kart or whatever. So I think Nintendo should have a go at releasing a proper console like what PlayStation and Xbox do, because maybe they might take over that side of the console market, you know, and not just appeal to like families basically. And I also want to talk about the Steam Machine, because I think that's really interesting. You know, obviously it's very, very different because it's going to be PC games, and it's not really going to be a console actually. Apparently it's going to be more like a PC, but it's going to be PC in the form of a console basically. So obviously it's going to be cheaper than a standard PC, and I think that's really going to appeal to a lot of people. So I think that has a chance of maybe causing a threat to PlayStation. You never know. Obviously PC, obviously that's not in the console war, because PCs and consoles are different. But I think, you know, maybe now that a lot of, you know, consoles are starting to get more expensive, and the console market is just starting to just get a bit worse, really. Or is it really starting to get worse? I don't know, actually. It's only really Xbox that's starting to get worse, really. But now that Xbox is going to increase their prices, what's stopping the other consoles from increasing their prices, you know? And then what would be the point of getting a console over a PC? So that's some people's concerns, really, that console prices are going to start to rise. But of course, we want to know PC prices are going to start to rise, because recently, you know, RAM prices are going up, GPU, even CPU, SSD, you know, there's been a bit of a crisis lately, and it's mostly because these companies, they're selling all of their stuff that they're making, they're selling all of their RAM, all their SSD and all that to AI companies, and AI is really ruining a lot, and I really hope that AI will burst, because it's not really... I don't know why these companies seem to think that, I mean, I don't really blame them for thinking AI is the future, but it's not really doing a lot of good, really, is it? The only it's doing some good, but it's mostly causing bad stuff. So I think, I hope the AI bubble bursts. Hopefully, that would be very, very nice. But that's all I really wanted to say, really, you know. It's looking like it's going to be very different next generation for consoles. This could be a very big turning point for console wars and just tech, maybe PCs, consoles as a whole. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I always read all of my comments. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking it, and also please consider subscribing. That'd be really helpful. I do other videos similar to this, so I'll see you in the next one. Bye.